welcome to this, I think, third bundle unpacking, at least, from a different newer set. I like this one because there's just so much cool cards to perhaps give away or at least see and talk about. And there's so many different sets as well that we can look at. Gonna work on the sounds a little bit. Because apparently this one's still a little bit louder. Yeah, that should be better. Alright. Yeah, I would say let's just begin. Because yeah, of course, with setting these 25 subs per time numbers for myself, it's a little bit hard to not instantly open these. So yeah, let's look at them. And also, I've put in the description that if you want, you can tell me what kind of decks you are playing right now, or which kinds of archetypes you really like. And then we'll look at the cards and see which types of cards would fit the best for your deck. And maybe we can look at sending some of them to you, which is cool. This is already confusing me. You can see that I'm a real professional at this. Which is lovely. But yeah, these boxes never really the top of the top notch or something. But what's inside is of course probably more important. I like this kind of die though. Cool. So the Modern Horizon set symbol of course, and then a little bit of the clean colored die, which is cool. Oh, and we have a little bit of a story about squirrels. Haven't seen this before either. Not sure how this will be readable. I have worked on the cards, so those must be a little bit better, but no, I don't think so, I'll just read it. So we have the Squirrel Sovereign. Every squirrel grows up wishing to be a sovereign, only a lucky few succeed. We have the Otarian Multi-Squirrel. A single squirrel contains multitudes. What? Cheddarfang, which is a squirrel general, which is other than a sovereign, apparently. A nefarious squirrel who commands an army, which you have seen before in one of the unpackings, by the way. We have the Theros Underworld Squirrel. Oh, so they are going over different worlds. Has a massive appetite. Some believe the species spawned from Croxa himself. That is a massive appetite. We have the Cheetah Spitter, which is a weapon from the squirrels, acorn generating device powered by the hopes and dreams of every squirrel in the multiverse. So it's not really eating squirrels. Oh, that's so much better. Nested Oak, which is a little bit of a fairy tale like tree, apparently, where squirrels can live in. Which is some tree folk have a symbiotic relationship with the local squirrels. Well, it doesn't really look like they are giving too much to the tree itself, but the tree is giving itself as a home, so that's cool. And it's telling us how to build a deck, but we knew that already. We get a nice Scalding Tarn. There is more in this, so yeah, we can look at those. But that's cool that they gave this. I'm not sure whether this is too. That's a nice promo, yeah, definitely. And a little bit of a zombie army token, which is a little bit less important. but still cool. But yeah, that's a nice promo. Looks cool as well. Really firm, I like that. I don't dare to touch it too much though. We have a squirrel because of the story, of course, that's nice. A treasure. These are not double-sided. Oh, these are double-sided. I love that. There's so much tokens in one. A clue token, a beast, a food, a thopter. Let's put this down gently. A germ, a bird, which looks very peaceful. A beast, a 4/4 beast, which looks devastating, a crap for the people who love them, and the zombie army that we talked about before. But we need to keep this one safe, at least a little bit, because this is very usable. So we have this very easy sleeves here. Cool. And of course the little bit of yeah, well, if you're going to collect them, these are really nice, because if you're what I usually do to keep my cards safe is just get the back and use only the front side, cut this out, and use that as a how do you say this? Well, thing to separate your sets. That works as well, but these are nicer, of course, because you can easily see which color it is, and maybe you prefer that, but I prefer to have the actual packages anyways. So yeah, what do we have here in the fronts? Oh, they're the same. I like that. So yeah, let's just start with a little bit of a deck and action, and do it the other way around after that, to make it fair. Because we all like fairness, of course. And who says they do not? Please put your hands up. Please tell us. My cat also likes fairness, he comes to say that, I think. I like to use all the packaging to open it. Give you a little bit more of the sound. Cool. We have Glimmer Bairn, I think it's called. It's a 1 green mana. Oh, by the way, I had prepared this to make sure that the cards are readable. Which I love about myself is that I just do it like this. This should work. Nice. Which says sacrifice. Oh, we can do that a little bit more to the front, by the way. Yeah, better. Which says you can sacrifice a token and Glimmer Bairn gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Tricks and treats, souls and sweets, on wooded path, whom shall we meet? That's so cute. I don't like this anyways. I already thought I would switch it up way too much. But that's no problem at all. We'll just keep it like this. Yeah. But I really like that this little bee friend, I don't even know what it is. It's an oof. Who knows what an oof is? I don't. But it works with tokens, and he likes to find new friends, but also he kind of eats them or something. So it's a little bit more of a dark story anyways. Niels Haan made this. And I don't know if he... Not all artists get to know what the effects are of the cards before they make them. But often they do, so maybe he just wanted to make something cute. I hope that's the case. But very likable. We have... I don't know how you say that again. But Couched, I think, Salad, which is a Cyclops Berserker for 4 mana with reach. It's a 4/3, so it can defend but will probably die from most flyers. But it has Delirium. Whenever it attacks, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Couched Salad deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls. So each creature, they do not have to be defending themselves, but they will all be damaged a little bit. So that's a little bit of a selective board wipe actually, in a way, only against 1/1s, but that might be really relevant sometimes. So I really like that. The art is really savage, which is cool. How he swings around and almost seems to want to hit you, which is a little bit dangerous looking. So Nicholas Gregory, we'll look for him a little bit more in these packs. So what they did in this set as well is look at the legendaries and see if they could make more cards around those legendaries and give those cards for sort of helpers, just like what they did in, for example, War of the Spark. This one is from Torak. He's a Canticle, no one knows what that is, I don't think, but he is sacrificing some dude on a table. The sorcery says for 4 mana, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a card from it, that player discards that card. So you may choose any card actually from their hand and then let them discard that. Then they also discard a card at random, so it's discard 2 and you can select one of them. So probably the best card and the worst card will be discarded. The same hymns Torak sang to praise the Eben Praetor would later be adapted to glorify Torak himself. Okay. So he once, well, praised his Praetor, and then later when he got way too powerful himself, he made others sing those hymns to him as well. And what I really like here with the kind of moon, is that they made a kind of double halo in them, if you can see that. With the one around the human himself, but also in the kind of moon, I think, itself too. So that's awesome. From Bastian El Deharm, I think, is how you say that last name. That looks really cool. It's really thematic for someone who is praising someone in a way. So that's cool. We have Flourishing Strike, which we have had before. Which is a 2 mana instant which says choose one. It deals 5 damage to target creature with flying, which is very green. And then also very green is it gets +3/+3 until end of turn for 2 mana. So we all know those kinds of spells. And then for the Entwine cost, so you may pay 5 mana for this, you can do both, which is also very green. And the art is very green. So last time as well we made the point of saying that this card is very green themed. So I really like how they did that. And yeah, there's always something new that we can discover. So let's look at that. Well, one thing that I really like is how flexible it is. So for a modern set, you of course want to look at the cards with a little bit more of grain of salt in a way, where you really want to know, you really want to see that the cards are more powerful than usual. And a kill a flying creature card is not always the best, but when you pair it with you can grow your own creature, this becomes always useful, and that's what you're really looking for in these optional cards. The flexibility, but to be specific, but also always usable, and that's really, really nice. We have arguably some of the best art in the set, or at least it really struck a chord with a lot of fans for this card. Which is Arrow Moba, I think. 4 mana, flying 2/4, so very defensive, but can attack in a little bit as well, sometimes. This one lets you discard a card and switch its power and toughness until end of turn, making it really nice to attack with. But also you will have to discard a card for that, so maybe you want to have some synergies with that, or otherwise it's still strong, but you will lose a card as well. Some clouds heat, no wind. So because this is a cloud elemental, I think, the flavor is saying that this elemental is a cloud but does not mind any wind, he will just fly on. And I really like that for a kind of soft, big creature to be stubborn as well. I think that really fits. Like with the cow, who are also seen as very stubborn creatures. We have this Arcbound Prototype, which is a 2 mana assembly worker with modular 2, which all the Arcbound creatures have. They all have modular in a way. which says when it enters the battlefield with 2 +1 counters on it, when it dies you may put its +1 counters on target artifact creature. So these work together very well, of course, because you can switch the +1 counters around and then keep using them as they die one by one. But what I really like about these creatures is that there isn't really a real story for the Arcbound creatures. We know they live on Mirrodin. We know that because of the ground we see on this art as well, with the... not sure, well, you can see it a little bit, but with the sort of 6-sided patterns on the ground, which says that it is from Mirrodin and that it probably sprung into existence out of some random event of a magician making some big spell and it recycling through these lands. It flickered to life, saw itself alone and began to build. This one card made me almost research this a lot further, because these Arcbounds really do not have their own story, like I said, but they do in their own cards. So there must be something, and I looked at it and there wasn't something to go deeper into. But this one did say that they built themselves, so maybe they are their own creature and only one started to live. Maybe this one was the first one. But then it also said that this is a prototype, and I didn't know from who it was the prototype, who made this first one then. So that's interesting, but we still do not know where it is from. So yeah, I don't really know where to start. That's really it. Cool. Here we have our card from which the art is now our first photo. How do you say it? Thumbnail. I really like this art because the coloring is so amazing with the green and the bright orange, and there only seems to be green and orange. I really like that. The enchantment says for 3 mana you can enchant a creature and it can't attack or block, and then when it enters the battlefield you may put a +1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So you can use this for other people as well, but you can also use this for your own creatures, of course, which is probably better in Modern anyways. But you can also stop a creature from attacking, so if it's a creature that only wants to attack, that's really strong, of course. But still, the art is really cool, and what you need to know about the Lagacs, they are really often aggressive creatures on Zendikar, but they can also be really adventurous and curious, so that makes them perfect for being mounts for these Zendikarian adventurers, where these Lagacs, these lizard type creatures, want to take them on an adventure too, as we see here, which is really cute. We have a new one again. That took us a little bit, but this one is Foul Watcher, 2 mana Nightmare Bird with Vying, a 1/2, which has when it enters the battlefield you may surveil 1, which was initially a Dimir kind of mechanic, but now it has been embraced by other worlds as well, it seems. Yeah, this is not really Dimir, probably mostly Innistrad, I think, because this one also has Delirium. When you have, well, Delirium, and then when you have Delirium it gets +1/+0, which makes it a 2 mana 2/2, which is really strong actually, if you can get that. So yeah, not really strong, not game winning initially, but if you have multiple of these, if you have a murder, there will be a murder. That's what it says. Ooh, this one we had as well. Rustville Bridge is the red and white artifact land, which says the path to strength is forged in stability. So all these bridges say the path to X is forged by X, or in other words, the one leads to the other. For the Boros Scholars, it says that in order to be strong, you will need a stable foundation, and that's really true for bridges. But it's also a way of telling that the Boros do value being strong and value fighting, but they only do value those things when they fight for honor and stability. So that's a cool way of looking at that. We have Batterbone, which is an equipment, a 2-mana artifact equipment, of course, with living weapon. So it will create one of those germs, which we saw before in the tokens. But equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance and lifelink. So the only problem is after your living weapon dies, so you will have a 1/1 with vigilance and lifelink for 2 mana, which is not the best. But when you can get this on a strong creature in any way, maybe you have a way to cheat this in. This can be a lot of value, but it is a win more card, so you will have to have a creature that can actually attack in. But then it will swing for a lot, so that's really cool. Scour the Desert. So this is one of the cards that really focused on the conceptual art, which is cool. Tyler Walpole made this. In this case we see a skull under the ground and a lot of crows flying above it. We see the desert at the top as well. But what is really cool is that the crows are really blending in with the art. So some are the color of the ground in the sky, but there are a few that are the color of the sky in the ground. So you can really think about that. What does it mean that some of these death signaling birds are in the ground and some of these are still in the air while a skull is on the ground? Even in the most barren wastelands, every death feeds more life. So they're really focusing on the fact that this card seems to say that life is a cycle, which is basically very, very vanilla, but still a cool thing to say. You can exile target creature card from your graveyard. So you have a dead creature and a lot of other 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying will eat them, and you may create them for the toughness of the creature. And that's also a very cool part, because the toughness of a creature often in Magic the Gathering decides how big a creature is. So these chunky creatures, so like the flying cow that we just saw, are said to be big because of their toughness. So that's really cool. It's a circle. Yeah, this is right from the Lion King. This card was taken. It was a photo taken on the set of the Lion King. So that's really cool that they went to that set, and in the song one of the creature died and made a photo of that. So that's really cool that they went there. But 5 mana for a lot of birds can be really strong. We have another artifact land, this time a little bit different, with Power Depot, which enters the battlefield tapped, which should scare you. But then also, of course, it can just tap for 1 blank mana, for 1 colorless mana, but also can add 1 mana of any color. But you can only spend that mana to cast artifact spells, which are probably colorless, but not always. Or activate abilities of artifacts, which are not that often, well, which are also often colorless, but sometimes are not. But then it also has modular, so it does do something when it enters the battlefield. It's not instantly unusable, so that makes it a lot stronger, I think, personally. And for the mechanic where it's not populate, well, the Phyrexian mechanic, I can't think of it. Where you can increase all +1 counters on all permanents you have and everywhere. Why can't I think of it? But doesn't matter. That's really strong as well. So if you have it somewhere there, I think the commander, at least for that, is also an artifact creature with 4 colors. Attracts, I reckon. I think of it. I myself. But okay, the art is nice and green. I like that this gives off such a scary feeling. We of course have seen a lot of Phyrexian themed cards in this set. And yeah, well, a lot from Mirrodin as well, so they're really cementing in that story. And I think it's cool that they make artifacts feel a little bit eerie in a way. So that's really cool that they made this land that way as well. Then we have a nice player removal spell in Flame Rift, which is a 2-mana sorcery which has deal 4 damage to each player, so also yourself. Proliferate. Thanks. Proliferate is what it's called. But yeah, of course, if you are a real dedicated red player, you will not care that you are hitting yourself as well. You will be fine with that. So here we have Jaya Ballard saying you might want to take a step back or to step back. I think it's really cool that Jaya says this, because Jaya is actually the controlled one between her and Chandra. So yeah, seeing her shoot everyone around is really cool, actually. Ooh, we have had some how do you say it? Foreshadowing about this, but here is the card. We have Cheetah Spitter, which is the thing where we were wondering whether this thing is actually eating squirrels or not, but that's still undecided. The rare says it's an artifact for 3 mana, a green artifact, so you can use the other land for it. But at the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice a token, which is probably thematically a squirrel token. If you do, put an acorn counter on Cheetah Spitter. Squirrels you control get +1/+1 for each acorn counter on Cheetah Spitter. So this one does work really well with the Squirrel Commander because it does want to have a lot of squirrels, but also wants them to be not 1/1s. It wants them to be bigger, or at least have more toughness, and this one does cater to that. And for 1 mana, you can create a new green squirrel creature token, probably because the squirrels are flocking around to eat these acorns. But I hope they also know that they are eating their friends, because otherwise that would be, or maybe better that they don't know. Not sure. I hope they are okay with it. But that's a really cool card, at least. And we see a squirrel working it, so maybe they are all fine with it, or maybe they are really as aggressive as the story and the card seem to say. But yeah, really nice. If you are working with a squirrel deck, that's really cool. If you are working with any token decks, actually, that's also really strong, because it can keep spitting out squirrels and it will make them bigger and bigger. So that's really cool. It works with itself and that makes it really strong. Then we have a very aggressive looking card here as well, as a little bit of extra foil friendliness here, which is Scofus Reaver, which we all want to do. We all want to reave a little bit. A 3 mana Minotaur Warrior, a 2/3, which is really often the case with Minotaur Warriors. Why is this? Because cows are thick, so we see the 3 toughness again. But also they are also really aggressive as a Minotaur, and especially when they are on Theros, because the god Mogis watches over all of them and gives them a lot of anger issues. But this one, as long as your turn, it gets +2/+0, so attacking it becomes even more aggressive. And then it has a madness for 2 mana. If you discard this card, you may discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its madness cost, or put it into your graveyard. So now we know what madness is. You probably already knew this. But makes it cheaper, so it works really well with this card, which is already really aggressive style. But having this for 2 mana, yeah, it's really strong. that way. So that's cool. And the flavor text is kill for Mogis. I'm not going to do that because we will need our throats today, but maybe later. Drink some water now we're talking about that. But yeah, cool. Very aggressive as well. The set is tempting me to create a scroll tribal deck, maybe in Modern, probably in Commander. Yeah, people were talking about that. This is a modern deck, modern set, but of course there are a lot of strong cards in those, and Commander players will want to have those as well. But yeah, let me know what you are building. I'm really curious about that, so it would be nice to know. And another Thopter token, lastly. Beautiful tokens. And I think it's cool that Kaladesh really owned these tokens, these Thopters, as their own in a way. And that the Thopters really helped the set become, or the plane at least, become really its own thing. Already starting from the Chandra prequel story, they already had Thopters, and then they were really scientific and they were really sci-fi. And right now they seem almost normal to us. We already have things like this in our real world. But it's cool that it really helps shape the futuristic side of Kaladesh. So that's cool. I really like those tokens because of that. But we will take those into the Thopter pile. But yeah, if you are building scrolls, we have this one. I don't think we have seen many other cards for those. No, not really. This works a little bit, but not really scroll dedicated. But I will sleeve it up. Because it's cool to think about while we're watching more. So let's jump straight into the next one actually. Have a little bit of momentum going on here. Watch out for the sound if you don't like this. You can't really stop that. Here we have a little bit of a backside of the scroll tree friend as well. Which is cool. A little bit of foreshadowing as well, maybe. But we start with something that semi-works with it, which is Kitchen Imp, one of those other helpers of special characters. This one, of course, for the Esmeralda creature. This is Kitchen Imp. It costs 4 mana for a 2/2 with flying and haste, so that's not really strong, but its madness is only 1 mana, and that is really strong. So you really want to play this in a madness deck, and otherwise you probably don't want to play it. The flavor says, order up, ooze, aspic and jellied anorite eyes. Yeah, these underworld cooks really do not like to serve nice tasting foods. Of course they think it is. So that might be a little bit mean of me to say. But I do like the story about them creating foods of general enemies of humankind, and then those enemies, those orcs, those oozes becoming angry at the underworld people. I think that's a really cool story. And the imps don't mind. I also like the playfulness here. I like how big his eyes are. I like how big the ooze's eyes are. It feels really, I think if I had to put it into one word, it feels really boggly. And that's a great thing to be. Evan Fong, that's great art. I will want to look at that a lot longer later. So here we have Web Recluse, which is a 5 mana spider with reach, a 35 with reach, which is already a great spider stat line. So if you know spiders, they are probably 4 mana for 2 4s or 5 mana for 3 5s. But flavor, it thrives on a steady diet of hastily disposed of evidence. Cool. So it lives in a sort of, disposal vacuum. And then whenever someone disposes of their evidence, which are probably bodies, it will eat them. But his morbid is when it enters the battlefield if a creature died, which is morbid. You may investigate, so you may create a clue artifact token with sacrifice this artifact for 2 mana, draw a card. So clue tokens are really strong. The flavor is nice as well. It is feeding on the evidence, and then it makes evidence when it eats them. So in a way, when you enter this spider's lair, which I would not advise you to do, but you might, then you might find these clues and you can use them later as well. So I like the flavor. That's cool. Millivoid Serrano made this. Also very cool colors. The green is really pronounced, which you can't really see here, but it is. And then around that, the green is really ghostly, which you can see extra well here. So I really like that. It makes it feel more scary, which is of course meant to be. We have Faithless Salvaging, which is a 2 mana instant, which has discard a card and draw a card, but it also has rebound, so you may do that next turn at your upkeep as well. It will return and you may cast it again without paying its mana cost, but you will have to cast it, so that's one thing. And then the flavor set says all that's left are broken beliefs. So these people are salvaging something from a church, I think, something like that, some other religious place at least, or another place of a thing that they believed in, at least. But yeah, they don't believe in those things anymore, and now that the place of worship is broken down, maybe they still want a little bit of the memories of the things they believed in before, something like that. I think that's cool. It does look Innistrad-like, so maybe it is a church. That's why I said that, but yeah, I like the rebounds as well. We have done a deep dive on another deep rebound card before, and yeah, it's cool that the mechanics always have to work in a way that it is different the second time you cast this. So that's cool. That this works that way as well, because the first time you do it, you can do it instantly, but the second time, you won't know what you will be discarding. So you will have to work for that, or your opponent can react to it. Maybe make you discard more cards, and then the choice becomes a little bit less nice. I think it's from Innistrad as well. It's not really clear, but the fact that the left person's head is really Innistrad-like. So I think that's the case. It's like a second part of Faithless looting. That could be true as well. I mean, it is Faithless and then something, so that's probably really true. We have Guildblade Prowler, which is a 3 mana human rogue, which says for 1 mana you may pay 1 life and then draw a card, but you can only do this if you have discarded a card this turn. So a lot of discard themes that we have seen today, which I like. I mean, but we haven't seen something that helps you discard something, I don't think. Only in blue, but that's not really the color for it. Let's just say my people are in the business of capital acquisition and intellectual property speculation. Okay, so this rogue really prowls around and gets secrets apparently, but then also steals capital acquisition. Okay, but they make it sound really good. And this one is also from Evan Fong. So again, let's see, what was the previous card from them? Here, have we seen him before? I don't think so.
What about command?
No. No. But I think you can really see their style in a way. And like with the kitchen imp, their style is really playful, but here it's a little bit more serious in a way. the colors are way less pronounced, but the focus, the colors that are focused on, which is the moon and the light from the window in this case, do tell a big part of the story. Of course, that it is night, but also the fact that there is someone inside as well that they are listening from. I think that's cool, and in a way, the details feel really lighted, like pronounced with light. I think that's a really smart thing. I'm almost sure that both cards represent the same location. I think you're talking about Faithless, the Faithless cards then. But in the meantime, we have the Fairgrounds Patrol, which is a Kaladesh card, which I'm fairly certain about because that is a really obvious style. In this case, from Siddharth Chaturvedi, which is also one of the most focused and most, well, one of the artists that got away best from the whole Kaladesh sets, I think. But you may exile this human soldier from your graveyard, so it has to die first, then you have to pay 2 mana, and then you can create a 1/1 Thopter with flying. Why does it say that? Why does it only work when it dies? Not sure. I have to look at the art better, I think. But it says no signs of suspicious activity yet. Maybe it's because when the patrol is away, when it has died, only then will the artifacts come out. Because those are, of course, not allowed on Kaladesh for a long time. Haven't been allowed for a long time. Now they are, but maybe this is from a little bit before that. But we do see the Thopters above them, so I don't really think that's the case. Maybe they don't hear the Thopter and maybe they don't know about it yet. But I think that wouldn't really be realistic. Not sure. Maybe it's just mechanics. Sometimes that's the case too. But here we have Unholy Heat, which is also very Innistrad vibed. Which is a 1 mana instant, deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and then with Delirium, which is the Innistrad vibe as well, it deals 6 damage instead. And the flavor is the devils use fire, why shouldn't we? Also, devils are very much there on the plane. So yeah, the story here is the humans are dealing with devils in some way, and now they really want to have enough weapons to deal with them, and using their own weapons is one way. The only problem here is that then by using those weapons and by using the same methods, you will become a little bit of a devil yourself. Here we have a very true flavor with Step Through, a 5 mana sorcery that lets you return 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. So that's not really cost efficient, but it is card efficient, and that's an important part as well. But usually these bounce effects should be cost and tempo efficient, but it also has wizard cycling, so you can always use this for its other effect, which says for 2 mana you may discard this and search a library for a wizard card, reveal it and put it into your hand. So it can let you search for a wizard, which is really strong. If you're in a wizard deck, then certainly, but if you have just some strong wizards, that's really strong as well. The flavor, like I said, is really true. Doors open both ways, that's just true. Randy Gallegos made this, and I think it really hits the imagination spot for me. Like with the 2 doors, where do they lead to? We don't know. Maybe they lead to each other, then it would be really useless, but maybe these people are doing some kind of experiment in a way, and then it would be really cool. Maybe they're working with multiple dimensions. That could be the story too. So here we have another returning creature, which is Knighted Mere. This one here, as we see, is a 3-mana Mere Knight, which is a 2/2, which is not strong yet, but you can let it adapt, and whenever one or more +1 counters are put on this Mere, it gains double strike until end of turn. This does also work with new +1 counters, so you don't only have to use it with the adaptability, but that is pretty strong. And also Jorkadeen, which is a really strong character himself, who also, by the way, works with First Strike and Ferocity in a way, says that this one fights like a Leonin, which is of course a lion. This one fights like a lion is what he actually says in his own language. But it's really cool that this Mere gets complemented by him. That says a lot as well. And these Mere are not really meant for fighting a lot of times, but they can, and they are usually workers, but workers can fight as well if you make them knights or give them weapons, like in this case. Oh, here we have a little bit of a great joke, which is Fodder Tosser. I'm saying great joke, but this joke has been made so many times that it might not be funny to you anymore. But it's a 3-mana artifact. You may discard a card, and Fodder Tosser deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. So this is a way to discard a lot of cards. You can do this for free, you only have to tap this. And we have seen that discarding cards is beneficial itself, and dealing 2 damage is never bad, of course. In event of siege, load copiously with hot oil, cannonballs, caltrops, rubble, old swords, mess hall leftovers, chamber pots, broken chairs, salt, cousin furt. So, what is this? A kind of a goblin, I'm assuming. It's probably called furt, and now he's being thrown at the enemy. And it actually says this in the trebuchet instructions. So someone wrote this. Goblins probably can't write. Most of them don't even really have thumbs anymore. So a human made this and actually said cousin third, and his cousin is a goblin. He has a really weird family, and I think that really says the most about this card. His family is a little bit weird. Also, Gabor Sixai really made sure to show us that the walls are not on fire, but the places around the trebuchet are on fire. So these people are really not doing a great job. Another returning card is Tormod's Crypt Keeper. We have been talking a little bit about these helper cards that really want to focus on the card that these are about. So in this case, of course, Tormod's Crypt. This is a 3-mana 3/2 with Vigilance. Doesn't really want to have Vigilance, but maybe if you want to, you can attack now and later you can defend with it properly as well. Probably not too true with a 2 toughness creature for 3 mana. Also because the effect on it is really strong as well. Which says sacrifice it to exile all cards from target player's graveyards. You can do this anytime. I think mostly what you want to do is make sure that you can attack with it the first time to get all of the value from this card. Make sure that you can attack with it the first time, and then use the effect later by sacrificing this to stop your opponent's graveyard shenanigans. The flavor says it guards not a body but a secret. This is because Tormod is, well, it has been stopped by killing it and then putting it into its own crypt. But later, when the people checked on the crypt, it was empty, and they found it empty, and probably Tormod was alive. Later, we got to see the actual Tormod as well in a card in a commander set, I think. Where he had been revived. Actually, he revived himself probably, and now the Tormod's Crypt Keeper, who should be guarding Tormod from going out, is now guarding the secret of him having been resurrected. To keep the people sane and not scared, probably. Cool. we have a little bit of a design card here, which is Sudden Edict for 2 mana. But this design card looks like it is almost finished actually. It has a little bit of color but it is an instant which has split second. I like that we get to see that the sword is being ruptured away into nothingness as well. Because that does really take us back to the most famous split second card we know, which destroys an artifact or exiles it, I think. This one says target player sacrifices a creature, can be any creature, but we also see the hand dissipating into nothingness, so that's cool. Also the 2 colors are not as pronounced on this card because it is not finished yet, and like with many of these cards, we do get to see a little bit of the assignment that the artist got. Ryan Yee was tasked with this illustration uses an existing visual gag that shows the moments before and after a spell was cast. We'd like you to use this visual gag for a spell that destroys a creature. So they actually did think about the previous gag that they used in the split second card, where at first the sword was still whole and now it's not anymore. And the artist literally took that gag and added a creature to it. So I think that's really smart, a smart way of working. It's not original, but it wasn't meant to be original. And then making the hand this gruesome, that's the impressive part of this sketching art, I think. So that's cool. Here we have another one of these. This one is from War of the Spark, I think, which is Lazotep Canceller, I think, which is Dimir colored. The real card without the design part says that this card took over the Dimir a little bit, or this creature took over the Dimir a little bit. The mood is, we will conquer you. So these huge armies, they do not really have emotions, but they do work with their previous skills. So persuasion is one of these things, but also being really cocky. So personality is taken with them as well. In this case, this Canceller really stands as if he is going to take over this world. So that's cool. Also works with discarding again. Whenever you discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, amass 2. So what amass does is it lets you create an army token and give it, in this case, 2 +1 counters. If you already have such a token, you may put 2 more counters on them, so in that way growing your army. But yeah, cool flavor. The mood is really there, and the we is set in 2 ways. You can see the shadows of the army in the backside, but also the wizard in front is almost showing us his army like this, as if he's proud of it. Here we have some more Kaladesh glittering. Make sure to grab your water. Which is Sweep the Skies. I really like how this looks. So what it does, it says 2 blue mana and an X, and then with Converge you can create a 1/1. You can create a Thopter for each color of mana spent to cast a spell. So blue is definitely there, but then you can put in 4 more mana of different colors, and then for all the colors you have made, all the colors +1 blue, by the way. You have made 5 Thopters. That is really strong. So this has a really big upside for this card. And now I especially like this art from Alaina Danner with the rainbow wings, which you can see here. These fireflies almost seem to really be made out of all kinds of mana, so that's really cool that they made them rainbow themed as well. A gleam of refracted light is often the only warning. Cool. So you won't even be able to see these coming, probably because fireflies are really fast, and if these are this big, that's really dangerous. This is also not from Kaladesh, by the way. We can see the pointy buildings in the back. That's not something Kaladesh people would do. Here we have another uncommon, which is Zurin Orb, which has you may sacrifice a land and gain 2 life. The artifact costs 0 mana, so you probably want to use this with some artifact synergies or land sacrificing synergies in a way. The flavor says, Obsession is Zur's only flaw as a magic user. His total preoccupation with immortality has become an affliction for his otherwise brilliant might. From Joda, Archmage, Eternal. So yeah, we have seen Zur and we know how annoying he can be for many people. But sacrificing a land to get 2 life is not the strongest ability on its own. So you already know that people will build strong decks out of this. I mean, if you have a creature that will grow stronger with all the lands that are in your graveyard, for example, this could be a really strong card to instantly pump that creature up a lot. Cool. We have... Stay. We have our rare here, which is Harmonic Prodigy, which looks really cool. A little bit taken from the Sona character of League of Legends, I think, but that's fine. I mean, you can't really make new things anyways. It's a 2-mana human wizard with a 1/3 stat line, but it has prowess, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So this really works well with the wizard decks that have been going around a little bit, because these also focus on doubling triggers and doubling wizards, and that's cool. This really works well with that. So the prowess is a nice extra, but this probably wants to work with a wizard deck anyways, because it's a 1/3 and that's not really, it doesn't really have evasion or anything, so that's what you want on a prowess deck. But cool. Each node strikes with deadly precision, but also probably the prowess is more because of the ability of herself, where she can double her prowess trigger as well, of course. So that it's a +2/+2, so that can be really strong. Definitely as a defender, I think. But cool card. Also, for the art, boss god Canavan has made, of course, Sona sitting on a mountain instead of floating around, but the sun behind her is with a thin line, looks cool, and some birds flying behind her as well, making this feel really peaceful in a way. So that's cool. She really loves her art. And then we have a beautiful little crab token, which looks really grumpy. Of course, crabs are 0/3s, so not really wanting to attack a lot, but you can pump these crabs up a lot, so they can become real menaces. And they are annoying, so think about that. Also, let's save up our wizard. Might use that. And then before a little break where everyone is forced to get more water, let's open one more pack. Because yes, we do force people to do stuff here. You get to listen to a little bit more of the opening of a pack. Friday Night Magic is what it says. Again, another code, you can have those, but I really don't get them. I mean, really not a code. But we have a little bit of a lengthy card here, but it does look really cool. We have Mount Vallis Manticore, which is probably from Pharaohs because of the stars in his design. This one says, at the beginning of combat on your turn you may discard a card. So this lets you discard, which is really necessary in this set, as we have seen before. But a 4 mana 3/4 with upside in combat is pretty good. When you do, Mount Vallis Manticore deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of card types the discarded card has. So that's probably 1 or 2, right? 1, 2, or maybe 3, but so probably shocks any target, I think. But born from a stray spark that flew from Perforos's Forge. So yeah, really Perforos-like card that wants to... Small words really don't go well here, do they? They really don't. Maybe. But really seems to like Perforos a lot. So that's nice of him. A random spark, also that really doesn't sound like they love each other. But we have Cable Initiate. Can we get this? Is it only for certain cards that it works there or something? Unclear. Hey. But this is a 2 mana human warlock which has discard a card, it gains lifelink until end of turn. So we were waiting for these cards that lets you discard, but here they are. Also Threshold, Cable Initiate gets +1/+2 as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard. So becoming a 3/3 for 2 with maybe lifelink. So that's cool. That's a nice stat line at least. And otherwise a 3/3 for 2 mana is also pretty good. So the flavor says, hear our prayers, oh Shadowed One, sorry. And bless us in bloody agony. Also really cool art here. We can really see this warlock loving his candles, and he really just wants to make a nice place around him. He's wearing a lot of candles and he has put down a lot as well. The wind is sweeping in, but he is keeping them safe so that he can set a nice mood for his friends and his Shadowed One. So yeah, nice that he is thinking about his environment in that way. Here we have one of Yonghao Han's really impressive ways of telling us that he dislikes humanity's works in many ways. This one says 3 mana sorcery, destroy target artifact or enchantment, create a treasure token. The flavor of course being that you crack open an an artifact and you can get a treasure from out of it. The flavor says, what no spell or lockpick could open, the forest, really can't read it like this, coaxed apart. So what I really like about this artist is he really focuses a lot on nature destroying artifacts very often, and he himself says that he likes nature in that way and he wants to return to it, and he uses his art to show us that he wants that way, and in that manner he really fits the color green, and most of his cards are green as well. So I think it's nice that then he also learns the color green and how to use it really well and how to accentuate it with this blasting color here in this case. Here we have a mouser that is not a mouse but it's a cat. It worked like this the previous time. Not sure. Different colors need different lightings, which is hard for Magic. Here we go. Arcbound Mouser is a 1-mana cat, which is already great because in cat decks you really want a lot of small creatures that are not tokens. But this one has lifelink and is a 1/1 at first. It doesn't purr, it hums, and then when it dies you may put that one counter on another creature or the other counts that it has as well, of course. Does this really say a lot more about Arcbound creatures? No, so we cannot really get a lot of more story out of this. But I do really like that this is a cat. And this Arcbound creature doesn't really look like an Arcbound creature either. Only a still is apart, I think. So maybe they are evolving in a way. That's the only thing I can get out of this, I think. Maybe they are evolving to become more whole creatures. That could be cool. And here we have a little bit of a weird Squirrel card. So only the second Squirrel card really that we have seen. Which is a little bit sad. But so shiny. What do you want to do with blue? Is it here? Okay, weird. I think here. Okay. A 3-mana enchantment, which can enchant a creature when it enters the battlefield. If you control a token, so probably a scroll, I think you want to have. Tap enchanted creature, then scry one, and enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So this thing not only stops attacking or defending, but also stops the tapping abilities of the creature, so that's really strong. But you need a token if you want to use it immediately, otherwise they can still tap it once, and that might be really annoying for yourself, so maybe think about that. But why does it work that way? Maybe because if you have a scroll, it will take his attention away and make him less focused on the fact that he is being misled by a shiny thing. Maybe something like that. Maybe the scroll brings him the token. Maybe it's about, oh, maybe the token, maybe the scroll is not what is really distracting the person, it's the artifact, of course. So if you have a treasure or something, it will count as a token as well. I think that's the case. Of course. Just as a scroll in the art, which is sometimes relevant in onset. Break Ties is a 3-mana instant with some very famous characters here. Oh yeah, white was here, right? Really up close with that white one here. Something like that. But you can choose one, which is already strong, but you can choose to destroy an artifact or an enchantment or exile target card from a graveyard, which is nice on an instant, of course. But then also you may choose to pay 1 mana, discard this card, so you discard a card, which is sometimes relevant in other colors than white, and put a +1 counter on target creature, which is not really strong, but can sometimes be a little bit of a blowout. But the flexibility of having 4 abilities, that is the strong part of this card. You can probably destroy something with this, or stop someone's graveyard's adventures. So it will probably have something to do. Here we have a little bit of a deep sea friend in Steelfin Will, which likes to have artifacts around. So with affinity for artifacts, it costs 1 less for each artifact you control. So with 5 you only pay 1 blue mana for a 3/4, which is really good. But then you will need a lot of artifacts. You will probably have 1 or 2 or 3, something like that. In a dedicated deck, you will you might easily get to 4. But when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may untap the Steelfin Will, giving it semi-vigilance in a way. It feeds on metal filings suspended in the water, sieving flecks of precious ore through magnetic baleen. So its teeth are called that, I think, baleen. But yeah, it just eats it. But then you shouldn't leave it in the freaking water, huh? Your precious artifacts if you wanted to have them. Now it gets to eat it. I think that's only fair. This dude is just cleaning the ocean and we are complaining about him eating the valuable artifacts. How dare we? We might need someone like the Goblin Anarchomancer, which is a really strong common actually, which says each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less to cast. And it says that a good Gruul shaman can work a whole clan into a frenzy. A great one will wait until the enemy's nearby. But yeah, he probably has a lot of trouble waiting himself. He probably wants the chaos to commence. So he will need a lot of Gruul patience for this, which they almost never have. So they probably will start fighting each other before the enemy arrives. Here we have another Mirrodin friend, which is this Salamander boy, which is Sojourner's Companion, which has another affinity for artifacts, but this one can be free, but probably will cost you a little bit, because you will need 7 artifacts for that. It also has artifact land cycling, so for 2 mana you can discard this card and search your library for an artifact land card. Again, searching, which is really cool. So it works really well with the Urza lands and stuff like that. So that's cool for modern in a way. But before Phyrexia's corruption, many of Mirrodin's creatures were more curious than cruel. So this boy was only curious and then got corrupted later by the Phyrexians. No idea how that would look for a salamander being perfected, but I think it would look really metal. Great joke. I have to say that to myself sometimes. Okay. We have a little bit of a Skyrim vibe here. Because this one is called Rent's Run Hydra, which does work really well with the latest types of cards in blue and green that really focus on having 0-powered creatures grow a lot. This one is green and X, and it enters the battlefield with +1 counters on it equal to the X cost you paid. It has reach and reinforce X, so you may discard and put X +1 counters on target creature, so you can use this on a more useful creature, or you can use this to grow itself and diversify or have your first creature. The flavor says the boggart hopped carelessly among the roots until the roots woke up. So this Hydra is made from the roots itself, and with enough nature mana you can definitely create a big boy here. But I like that. Hydras are fun creatures to play around with and really flexible and really chunky. And they make for really fun cards to make cool plays with, because you have so many almost infinite choices. Here we have a really cool looking one from Martina Fakova, which is a great art. Look at this anger from this angry woman. But it says it is a human shaman, so it works with the previous Harmonic Prodigy, which I really like. So there's probably a cool deck you could make with that. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. So again, surveilling. Maybe this one channels rage from the dragon and then she can see the future or something like that. Or she can see other places. Maybe that's more like it because it's surveil, of course. But it has a delirium where if you have delirium, it gets +2/+2 and flying. So it's a 1 mana 3/3 flying. But it has to attack each turn if able, but you probably want that anyways. With the 3/3 flying. So that's really strong delirium here. Cool. I like that. It's not a dragon, is it? No, it's not a dragon when it becomes bigger. That would have been cool to have, that she turns into a dragon. But I guess she is just a flying shaman, which is also really cool idea. Let's turn up the music for myself. Doesn't have to be for you, but you can tell me whether it's nice or not. This is really cool art as well. Look at this. If I can make it sharp for you, I hope you can look at it a little bit. But otherwise look it up. It's from Robbie Trevino. It's a white and black 5 mana sorcery, which says choose one. Already strong, I already like it. But the art looks really cool with the yin and yang elk couple flying around each other with some suns and moons. And it says choose one, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with an additional +1 counter on it. So 5 mana, recursion is not the strongest. But it is flexible because you can also return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and not give them counters. But if you have a little bit of a combo with 2 small creatures, maybe in some sort of life gain thing where you have the combo with a vampire in Modern, that could be really strong to get back in immediately for 5 mana. It's a little bit cheap. It's a little bit of a high price to pay in Modern, but still a nice card in many other formats. And it looks cool, so that's really important as well. Here we have a little bit of a rare that's a downgraded rift in a way. It is Upheaval. For 6 mana it's a sorcery, so not an instant. And you can return all permanents to their owner's hand, so also yours. So this works really well if you want your creatures to be returned as well. But otherwise it might be a little bit of a tempo swing against yourself. But maybe if your opponent did a board wipe anyways, this can be really strong, and it is strong against all the tokens from the set as well. It says the calm comes after the storm, and I think that's more true than it comes before it, because before it you won't know that the storm is there. But before the storm you can feel a really tense, almost kind of silence, as if you hear no birds and stuff like that. So that's the silence before it, but after the storm there's silence as well. Of course. Cool. We have another rare, which is Usury, Fortune's Flame, which is a 3 mana legendary creature. It's an Efreet, which is a little bit of a new creature for Magic the Gathering, at least, I think. Or at least we haven't seen it in a while and now it's returned, something like that. But this one is cool. It is a 3 mana legendary creature with flying, and it's a 2/3, so it's not really for the body anyways. But whenever it attacks, so you will have to attack with it, choose a number between 1 and 5, flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, Usury deals 2 damage to you. So you will damage yourself with this little devil. If you won 5 flips, so if you choose to do 5 flips, you could lose 10 life, which is really unlucky, but it could happen, so don't be angry at that, but maybe you have some manipulation for that. But you could immediately win the game. So that's a really strong thing as well, which is also really unlikely, but again, maybe you have some manipulation. I like this card. It's really nice to have cards that force randomness into not randomness again. And that's something modern players like a lot, I know this. But it's also nice for the people who like random decks that can have a way to really win with that randomness. We have another rare, which is our third for this pack, which says also really cool effect. Yeah, we have it on we have had it on Strixhaven, that's true, but that's also really new. That's what I meant. But true. Those Deans were also in those colors, so that's really cool that they have already given them this color identity. But yeah, that's true. That's the one we had. In Prismari, yeah, that's true as well. But this one is back to Innistrad, which you will return to really soon. 4 mana enchantment, which is often really strong because it's not the amount of mana you will want to put your enchantment removal on. You will not want to go to great lengths to remove this often. But whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, you may investigate. So this is a little bit of a protection because your opponents will not want you to have that many artifacts. So that's really strong. To halt these lurid practices, Geralf must be found and made an example of. Inquisitor Delmont. Cool. So they are trying to find Geralf. They are in his lab right now. You can see it from the little experiments. I can't really do this because it's shiny. Little experiments on the side here. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's also card advantage, true. And it does seem to be for Commander again, so sorry modern players, but yeah, really strong, and white does need this effect, so if you have some white decks you really will want to have this in that. And we have another little Thopter token. So friends in my Commander groups, they always want to say to make Thopter sounds whenever they play one. So they go like and then they put it on. It's really gross and funny at the same time. So I like gross and funny at the same time. Let's be clear about that. But let's protect these 3. These are really cool. So search for premises, really cool. In the laboratory that they're in, must be a lot to do a little bit of a deep dive on the person. I think that would be cool. Also, Yusri is a really cool character, like you said. I think the only time I also saw this was in Strixhaven. And then they were really cool characters with really cool cards. And now this is a really cool card as well. And Upheaval, which is of course a really big effect for a really big chunky card as well. Cool. But let's get some water. You can also put this down like this, I think. And then get some water. So you get some water as well. You have to. Vibe. Check into the vibe. But Matt, also tell me, what kind of decks do you like to play? Or someone else. But you have been talking, so. You think I should be good at these, but at opening these, but not at all the case. Another not a code, but this is a cute art with some planeswalker like Gaia and Jace. Let's put these back on each other so that they won't necessarily crumble up like a Pringle right here in front of our eyes. That should be really sad. Here we have one of our bringers of the previous theme of one of the unpackings, which is, I should really sit a little bit more on this side, shouldn't I? Which is, or maybe, yeah, that's easier. Echoing Return is a 1-mana sorcery which says return target creature card and all other cards with the same name as that card from your graveyard to your hand. Almost as if to say that this isn't for Commander. A single ambition, unleash a legion of horrors. But is really nice, really nice in red decks as well. Like the red pack decks that want to have a lot of the same creatures. You can get them all back from your graveyard to your hand. Then it's really strong. But also if you have some strong 4-offs that really fuel your deck, then you might also want to use this. And otherwise it's a 1-mana get 1 card back, so that's not the worst amount of mana to pay for that. I think for recursion this is the kind of thing that you really want to have. Making it not as fast, but it is mana efficient and you really want that as well. It's only 1 mana extra to play that creature, so that's cool. Here we have a little bit of a story from Christy Balanescu, which shows us 2 paws ready to pounce on this person here. Do we see something else in the background? I don't think so. But this is sorcery with apparently I can't use that word today, proliferate. But also target creature you control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. It's fun when they run a little. Damn. Was the Torak Nekoru Queen, which we have seen as a little bit of a dragon cat mom. Which is a cool thing to be, Dragon Cat Mom. But yeah, a fight spell with a little bit of upside. Maybe you can make sure your creature can fight the other creature. It becomes stronger. The +1 counter is because of the smelling of fear. Some creatures, when they smell fear, they become a little bit more ferocious. And that's definitely true for cats actually, because cats really like to come up to people who don't like them. So definitely a correct flavor, and I don't know if it's true for dragons as well, but I am assuming it is. Another Arcbound friend. This is a cat as well, even though it doesn't really look like that. But it's a 5 mana for red artifact creature cat. With modular 4, so it comes in as a 4/4 and it can switch those around. Riot, this creature enters the battlefield with another +1 counter, so that works with modular as well. So that works with modular as well, but it can also be a 5 mana 4/4 haste, which is a lot of damage extra if your opponent is not expecting it, and if you can finish the game with it, that's a strong thing to do right now. So of course haste and riot being really cool in red. It's a little bit of a cruel thing to have. Here we have the second coming of Tizerus Charger, which says it's a 3-mana 3/2, and you may, which is just a 3-mana 3/2, but also when it dies, you can escape it later as well. And then it escapes with either a +1/+1 counter, so for 5 mana you will have a 4/3, which is not the best, but it is extra value. Or a 3/2 flyer, which is really strong. So if you can use the flyer, you can choose whether you can use the flyer or if you want a little bit more of a chunk. If you can use the flyer, that's really strong. So you can get in for 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 and kill your opponent really fast. So that's a really strong effect. Also, I like that for the escape card they have used the chains again, because we really haven't seen that a lot in Theros itself. So it's strong that they kept it for this card. We have Piercing Rays, which is a 2-mana sorcery, which can exile target tapped creature. A really wide thing to do, that it exiles a tapped creature. But the art, that's amazing. Brian Sola, I often compliment Brian on his art here, but if we can get it to work here, maybe someday we will, and then it will be epic. Here we go. So we can see his back is rupturing and piercing his body. You can see the moment before it bursts through it, and I think that's a really cool moment to show. The forecast calls for pain. Yeah, I think the pain is already beginning, but when it bursts through, then it will be really bad. But also cool that they have forecast in the flavor and forecast in the ability, because you can, for 3 mana you may reveal it from your hand and then tap target untapped creature. Cool. Does that work infinitely? Activate this ability only during your upkeep and only once each turn. So once each turn you can reveal this from your hand and tap target untapped creature. That's cool. And then you can exile it with the ability later. So for 5 mana you can exile something fully, and then you can use this forecast over and over each turn if you want. That's actually a really strong card to have. Deck-wise, I also have a weird idea based on previous Modern Horizons, where I would use the Evoke card that revives something with power 1 or less for 2 mana. What's the weird idea? I'm curious now. I like weird ideas. And the body double, which is 0/0 in the graveyard and enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature in your graveyard, so you can revive anything with that. So that's a kind of cool recursion where you make your recursion really cheap then. Cool. Not sure if we saw something for that today though. What colors is it? Probably black and something. We do have the Graceful Restoration, which does fit a little bit. But maybe later we'll find some more cool cards. Don't know. But what colors are they? Is the deck? We have Guardian Kirin. Oh, white for the Evoke card and maybe red for pitching cards in the graveyard. Okay, cool. We'll check that later. Guardian Kirin says, follow to Kirin is an Ojitai expression meaning died a hero's death. So the Ojitai value curiosity, of course, which you have seen in the previous unpacking video, red or black. But so maybe black is better, right, in recursion, Why is red? Because you can pitch? Oh, because you can do the looting thing, of course. True. But this one says, whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1 counter on this Kirin, and it becomes a bigger flyer. So I think if it's a 3/4 for 4, that's already a pretty chunky stat line for a flyer. But then when even more creatures die on the ground, you can have this become bigger and bigger, and then it becomes a real menace. So I think this is a strong card. But I also like the fact that the Ojutai really value curiosity, so someone had to go after this Kirin, and they got led around by this beautiful, majestic, dragon-like creature and got killed in the air. I think that's really fun. As a story, not as a thing to do. But if it would be red, let's see, white and red. I mean, the Faithless card would fit really well. Maybe we would find it later, but we'll have to look around for them. Faithless Salvaging would fit for that deck then, if you are choosing red. But Phantasmal Dreadmaw is a 4-mana dinosaur sour illusion, which comes in as a 6/6, which is really strong, of course, but these illusions always have that thing where when they are targeted, you have to sacrifice it. So that's a really easy way for your opponents to kill it with the kind of target spell. That was perhaps the most terrifying thing I thought I almost saw, Captain Lannery Storm. So Captain Lannery is in this set as well. And of course we can assume that Jace is the one casting this spell, because he's I think the only one who made these illusions, from seeing how surprised these people always were from seeing his illusions on Ixalan. So it's cool to see a little bit of a flavor back to the time Jace was on Ixalan. And this is a really cool card. It can be really strong. I mean, this can really chunk in for a lot of trampling damage. So that's always fun. Not really a blue thing, but still fun to have. Foundry Helix. Talking about the Boros colors. For 3 mana, it's an instant, and you have to sacrifice a permanent as well. But then it deals 4 damage to any target. If the sacrifice permanent was an artifact, you gain 4 life. So the Helix cards, of course, is the one where you can deal 3 damage and then you gain 3 life. In this case, you have to sacrifice a permanent, and if it's an artifact, you do the same thing with 4 damage and 4 life. So that's a cool flavor extra. And the art from Zesao Chen, I think. It's really cool that the mage almost seems to be above the clouds, or coming from above the clouds, maybe even, and bursting down onto the ground and then shooting out this liquid metal hotness, something like that. But it looks really cool, and that's a very important part, of course, in life. Steel never forgets the strike of the forge, so maybe the steel is a little bit traumatized and now it wants to strike other things, beings. That's a little bit harsh. We have another Goblin Anarchomancer. Geomancer, even. Yeah, previously we have looked at the flavor. Why is this creature having so much trouble with avoiding making people crazy already? But I think it's also nice to see the art from Joe Sluger in this case, where we see the goblin looking at the light with almost a hunger for this bit of aggression. And in the background we can see the light is really red from the anger, of course, that is coming out already. You can see the goblin is green to make the colors grew again. And I think that's a really nice use of colors, because you can't use all the colors, but you want to use red and green in this case. And then also the lighting source from the magic, and it has to feel as if there's a lot of hate from that magic, and that's really impressive. Here we have another bridge, the Silver Bluff Bridge, which is the red and blue one. Again, an artifact land that's indestructible but enters tapped. So against land hate, this might be a little bit good, but it's probably not the best. But it's still a tap land and it has a little bit of upside, so if you were going to use Boros Guildgate, this might be better. The flavor says, in this case, the path to genius, which is probably the blue thing, is forged in creativity, which is probably the red thing. In this case, it does look like the bridge is coming from a red part and going to a blue part. So it's not really true that they are all the same in the kind of art. Oh wait, it is the case still, because it's coming from red and it's forced in creativity. Yeah. So you need creativity for genius. In which way is that true? Like, it's not always true. You can be genius just because you read a lot of books, right? But maybe genius requires a little bit of craziness, and then it is true. So genius is maybe the next level from knowing everything. It's not just knowing everything, it's creating something new and genius that no one has ever heard before, and that is better than anyone's idea has ever been. Maybe then you will need creativity. In that case, it's true. Here we have Tulane, who is not really in this set himself, but he has made a Fey offering, which is cool. It says, for 3 mana it's an enchantment, and at the beginning of each end step, if you've cast both a creature spell and a non-creature spell this turn. Okay. In green, by the way, which is mostly about only creatures, but this one wants you to do both. Create a clue token, a food token, and a treasure token. Beware the gift when you do not know the giver, says Tulane. This is curious. So you get a gift from the Fae, which are tricksters, of course. And you don't want to take the gift, but okay, they have given it to you. And maybe the thing is you have made a creature with a little bit of magic, and that's a fairy, that's a Fae. So therefore you get their gifts, something like that. You have to make a Fae and then you get a gift. Maybe that's it. But it's a cool card anyways. I mean, the art is great. Lucas Graciano made a little bit of a fruit basket with the bread lying next to it. Maybe it's because you are working for the Fae and now they're giving you gifts. But watch out, because they will curse you with it, something like that. I like it anyways, because making 3 tokens like that, and all 3 are artifacts, that can be really synergistic. You have to be in green with an artifact deck, so that's a little bit weird, but yeah, it could be really, really strong, so I like that. It's a lot of upside, it feels like. We have Archfiend of Sorrows. Can we? Yeah. This one says, for 7 mana it's a demon. It feels like there should be something to make it cheaper, but it's a 4/5 flying, so that's strong. When it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So it can be a partial board wipe against the enemy. And then it has Unearth. For 5 mana, return this creature, discard from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste and you have to exile it. You can only use that as a sorcery, but that's a really strong effect that you can make the -2/-2 twice. That's a nice extra to have. And it's a 4 or 5 with flying, so that's never bad. But it's a little bit expensive, but you need to get this out first or discard it maybe, and then you can use the Unearth anyways. But I like the art. Is this a person? No, it's not. This demon is just scaring something. Maybe it's scaring us or something. We're trying to get to the light, but no, this thing is in the way, and it will keep us in its lair. So you might never leave here. It's a demon, but it's not the usual demon. It's more of a monster in that way, with its lair and wanting to keep you there, and being this feral about it. Here we have a double card, which is said and done. Which you will have to change around here, how I will hold it. Said and done. You can choose which you will cast, and then you can choose between returning target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So if you have something really important there, that could be nice. Or it's an instant that can tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. So it's a free spell, or you can get a sorcery back. The free spell is really expensive for what it does. To get a sorcery back as well. So not really a fan of this option, because it's so overcosted. But it's still an option that you can choose or not. So that's cool. I like how they look, but I don't really like the effects most of the time. Here we have a little bit of a combo card actually, with Sea Drake. 3 mana flying 4/3, which is not really important, but when it enters the battlefield you may... you have to return 2 target lands you control to their owner's hand. Okay, I thought it was better than that, but it's still a 3 mana 4/3 flying. So that's strong, and you can play this on, for example, turn 4, get a land back and play it immediately. So that's a way. Highly territorial, they often attack boats whose colors too closely resemble those of other drakes. So if you know which dragon is in your area, you will want to dress your boat up as this dragon. That's the story here, I think. Does look cool though. Ooh. Here we have something which I feel is the most talked about card of the set. Esper Sentinel, which is great in white decks. It says whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is its power. The more Esper changes, the more he refuses to. So it wants to Esper to stay a little bit like the way it was before, I think. It doesn't like its evolution, maybe. Maybe after the Confluence, he wants Esper to be more artifact-like again. Something like that, it feels like. So he becomes stronger as Esper evolves, and he stops progress because of it. I think that's the flavor here. That's a cool flavor. And also the art. This man looks really strong and has really big weapons. Eric Deschamps did a great job at making something feel really strong and really vulnerable at the same time. That's perfect for this. And then we have this little bird friend, who's just a bird, but like I said, looks really peaceful. But it's funny that it comes in this set mostly from the Lion King card. Where is it? Lion King card? I think it was one of the first ones. Yeah, here it is. Lion King card makes these peaceful birds. That's weird, right? But still funny. Drink your water. Drink your coffee. And let's open our second to last pack already. Well, already we've been going at this for 2 hours. See how freaking people open these packs in like, what is it? Like 13 minutes or something. But you could do it in 2 hours as well. That's really funny. Everyone has his own ways of doing this, but I think for slow unpacking it's really important to have to take the time and show people that you can really take the time with your cards and really appreciate them in a way. In this case, a nice 4 mana red enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Not necessarily the best, but really making it, yeah, the fact that it is every turn is great, of course, and it is a little bit of a red thing. Battle Plan also has a great art with showing us a lot of access on this table, and that's their plan, probably. That's the whole plan. Let's go in really aggressively. But it also has basic land cycling where you can get a land from it. So it's always useful, and that's really strong. You truly live up to your username, that's true. I'm really slow with these, but I like it. Oh, this is a cool art from Robbie Trevino. I don't think you can really see how conceptual it really is, but it looks really gruesome, and the thing you see at the top of his head is actually really small. So that's really gruesome. And it's drooling sort of magma from its mouth as well. You can discard a card, so this one lets you discard cards, as many as you want. And it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And if you discard this one, you can pay the madness cost. So that's a really nice synergy, which is 3 mana. And then you have this 4/3 already, which is really great for 3 mana. It feeds on shadows, fear, and blood. So not really even eating like a body, just his blood. That would be really scary. That would be really scary. Not only the fact that it will still kill you, but it won't even eat you. It will just drink from your fear. Maybe if you are fearful enough, this one won't really attack you. So you just have to be really scared, and then you will be safe from it. But then you won't be scared again, so... Maybe if you can fake fear, maybe something like that. But okay, we have Discerning Taste here. A 3 mana black sorcery. From Aaron Miller, really cool art with this kind of forge, but also this lady making something, and then the imp helping. We know that this is Asmore probably. And then the skeleton is helping as well with bringing around these huge maggots or fish or something. Looks really cool. From Aaron Miller, is a great artist as well, so it's always good. Everyone lost a dash of crushed pixie, except the pixie. So maybe this is one of her adventures where she tries to appease the orcs of the lands and eat some pixies as well. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You gain life equal to the greatest power among cards put into your graveyard this way. So you will want to discard some hugely powered creatures, but you can also have some selection. That does seem great for your deck, by the way. Maybe let's put them aside. Maybe we'll find more potent ones later. We'll just put them all aside. We have orchard, orchard, something like that. It's at least something with like apples and stuff. And this tree has apple. This walking tree folk has apples on it as well. Someday I'll figure it out. Maybe? Yes. Kind of. But it's a 6 mana 6/4, so really big dude. And when it enters the battlefield, you may create 2 food tokens. So that's a lot of food tokens. Basic land cycling is also a great ability because this is really chunky, but you won't always be able to use the 2 food. It's a lot of mana to put into this anyways, so nice to have the ability to cycle it away. Here we have some other recursion fun, which is Breathless Night. It's a flying lifelinker 2/2 for 3 mana. Oh man. I know that works better if I put it like this, but maybe. Yeah. Flying lifelinker 2/2, which is already pretty good, by the way. But whenever the Breathless Knight or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from the graveyard, if it entered from a graveyard or you cast it from a graveyard, put a +1 counter on Breathless Knight. So this one grows with every recursion that you do, so you really want to have a lot of recursion in your deck. But what I really, again, because we have seen this before, but really like about this card is that it says a deadly charge in eerie silence. You won't hear these zombies coming until it's too late, and it's such a huge stampede. That's cool. Ooh, another chunky boy. And this one is actually a cow. In a way, it's a goat, but it does look like a cow, but it's a goat. We have to be honest. It's a goat. It's a 6 mana 4/6, so it has a big butt. So it works really well with the bird Lion King card as well. This one says when it enters the battlefield, put target card from your opponent's graveyard on the bottom of their library. So a little bit of graveyard hate. Again, the cards with the basic land cycling don't seem strong, but you can always use them, which is the strong part about it. It's not efficient, it's not like good for modern, because in modern you really want to have a working deck with a very simple and fast strategy, and this won't give you that. But it is flexible, and in draft it will definitely give you something, so that's nice. Here we have Mental Journey with art from Jim Pavelak. This says draw 3 cards for 6 mana. It's an instant. Again, basic land cycling, so you can always get a land with this in the early game. But if you draw this in the late game, you can still draw 3 cards, which is a lot for 1 card. That's card advantage. I really don't know how to value this, but it's, again, you can always use it, so it's more used for draft, I think. But the art is really cool, I think, here. My Wandering Mind has always been an asset. I think it's really cool to me because it's like a reference in a way to the Yu-Gi-Oh's mind, the Yugi's mind in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think about that a lot. With chambers and stuff. Soul of Migration. Wow. That looks eerie. Really eerie. Who made this? Kev Walker, of course. No, just kidding, but they do make a lot of scary art. And this elemental, this 7/7 flying 2/4, which is a lot of mana, does look really scary. Like with the dead face and two birds are like carrying this thing. How does white work again? Like this, okay. That doesn't look nice, and it's over a plane, so imagine walking over a plane or something, and then you can see this from like kilometers away, from miles away. You can see this being coming up to you. No. But when it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white bird creature tokens. Again, these things look so peaceful on their own, but the things that make them are so gruesome in a way. But you can also evoke this, so you don't have to play this for a 7 mana, like 4/6. But you can also use the 4 mana to make 2 1/1 flyers. Not the best necessarily, but if you have some team pump spells or something, this can be really strong. Anyways, I think that's how it was meant to be played. This one, I don't want to play it. I don't want to even see it. We have another one of these bridges, where in this case we see the Gruel one, which is a bridge that leads from a forest down into the mountains, really focusing on the elemental side of the colors. The path to action is forged in confidence. Cool, so they are saying, I think that's true as well, you need confidence to take action. You need to believe that you can do something before you can actually go and do it. Otherwise you probably won't do it. That's cool about it, but also, yeah, I like that they took the art of the elements in this bridge, because red and green are really about their natural side. And having confidence is really natural as well. You should just have confidence, because it's in you and you can use it. Why wouldn't you believe in yourself? So many cards. I usually only open 1 pack at a time. So this really feels like a lot in one sitting. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't do like whole boxes ever, because that would take so long as well. But here we have Dihada's Ploy, I think, which is a 3 mana instant. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you've discarded this turn. So here we see really that it's black and red mostly, but we also see some themes from blue and red that want you to discard some cards. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So, and then you at least gain 1 life, but you might gain like 2 or 3, or maybe have a dedicated madness deck, which would be impressive. But it also has jumpstart. So what you can do, which seems hard for the effect that it gives you, but what you can do is you can pay 6 mana, play this and discard another card. Then you draw 4 cards, discard 2 cards and gain 3 life in total. So yeah, I don't know what that second part is about, but maybe you can gain a lot of life with this sometime. The last piece was finally in place. So yeah, someone did a ploy on this person and now it's coming alive again, but that doesn't really seem like a draw discard effect. So I am not sure what happens here. Would have to look into Dihada for this, to be honest. It does look really cool, Jason A angle, but I don't know what it means, to be honest. We have Flay Essence, which is a 3 mana sorcery, which is really strong, it seems. Yeah, it's really strong. Whew. Bastion L the Arm. It's 3 mana sorcery. Let's let you look at it. Yeah, which with really cool art from the Harm again. which you have seen a few times too. It says exile target creature or planeswalker, you gain life equal to the number of counters on it. Doesn't matter what kind of counters, by the way, it might be useful in some decks. The flavor says your argument as to why I should spare you lacks substance. Now, so do you. Darn. Gaia Drone, Diada. Diada again. We should really look into them. But yeah, exiling a creature or planeswalker for 3 mana, that's strong on its own. But let's see. I want to look at the Hada. Maybe we should do this after the stream. Like looking at what kind of cards we want to do deep dives on and stuff. Yeah, let's do that after the stream. But definitely this, Diada. And also what I wanted to look at was... Which artist was that? Which we already saw. Oh wait, it was Bastion. We saw Bastion before. I want to look at those next to each other as well. Bastion. We have seen so many artists multiple times. But this one struck me, so... So this as well? I think there was one more. You have to think about how much work goes into one of these artworks and how much time they have dedicated for like one. Here it is. For like one set, how much work. Like Bastion in this case did 3 arts. That's a lot of work. But yeah, we can already see 3 cards from Bastion. They all look incredible in a way. But they all look like they have the same vibe. Do you agree? Like with the candles, or one is like literally lighting up itself, or it's the light is around them. They are all 3 black cards as well, so they are a little bit of a darker theme, I think, in each one. Isn't that cool that some people like really have embraced a color and really, yeah, I don't know, they just seem to have the same vibe, but they are about really different things. I think that's really cool. Cool. Cabal Initiate could work in my deck because it allows for free discard. Oh, we have seen some more things like that. Let's see. But like this one gives lifelink. I think there are more crazy effects. What was the one that we have seen? I know what it is, but I will look for it. Because if you are going to use red, then I think we have a way better thing. Yeah, this. And there are more things, but I think this one is the best that I have seen that really helps you discard cards. Yeah, so I think the Mount Phallus Manticore is a little bit better than the Cabal Initiate, because it lets you deal damage to any target. So that's a really strong effect as well, I think so, but it really depends on what color you will use. But judging from this, I think white black is the strongest in these cards, of course. So, but will be interesting to look at in that way. Oh, this one does it as well, but it only gives it +1/+1, so it's not really a strong effect, I don't think, personally. So here, okay, another enchantment from red, Flame Blitz. At the beginning of your end step, Flame Blitz deals 5 damage to each Planeswalker. Oh, right. So this is the one where everyone said, okay, if you are playing Planeswalkers, your career is literally over with this card. Blast it, not again. So someone entered this world again and again, and every time they're being blitzed away from existence. I think this plane just really doesn't like when people enter it just uninvited. Yeah, the Manticore is really strong because it only deals it deals damage to any target. So you can use it to like kill someone if you have enough cards in your hand. Yeah, that's better because it's repeatable. That's true. That's true. It only works in the upkeep. So yeah, maybe red's not the strongest again. But it's a really hard choice, isn't it? But I like this, and it also has cycling, so if you are not playing against Planeswalkers, then you can still cycle it. But also you can just place this down and let it stay there. It's only 1 red mana, so if you don't need the other cards. The best Planeswalker, the unlucky Planeswalker from the Curses cycle. Yeah, I thought I recognized him, but that's really cool that this is him. Blasted not again, so it's really getting cursed everywhere, and now I really wonder, do we have his name? I don't think we have his name, but that's cool. That's a cool concept as well. So here we have another little bit of a flavor thing, which you will know if you play a lot of Commander. Timeless Witness, not to be confused with Eternal Witness. A 4 mana human shaman, which works again with the other shaman that we have seen. The Sona shaman, which doubles its effect. When it enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. And then you may do that 2 times, so that's really strong. But it also has the ability to Eternalize, which is the Amonkhet ability of coming back as a 4/4 creature token. And a black zombie as well. Wait. Oh, with no mana cost, because if it's a token, it won't have a mana cost. That might be important sometimes. Okay. I saw this clause with no mana cost. It enters with no mana cost. I thought, why is that important? Because it's a... Oh, because it's only black aligned, I think, and it can't be green. Something like that. But yeah, it's a nice witness. It's a little bit more expensive if I remember correctly. The other one is, I think, 3 mana. I think. But this one can be used twice, so that's of course already better. And you can get this out of the graveyard as well. So it's cool. I like the art as well. Daruchenko Alexander. I like the art because the ghost hyena doesn't really seem to fit in Amonkhet, but the vibe here of this little outcrop of water and the light falling in is really Amonkhet-like. So I like that. I like the card. I like the ability. I like Eternalize as well. I like the draft. This one, Seal of Removal, is a little bit more of the old-fashioned conceptual type of art, where someone broke the seal, I think. It's an enchantment stone, something like that. For 1 blue mana, you can play this enchantment, and then you can sacrifice it anytime and return target creature to its owner's hand. So really cheap for return target creature to its owner's hand anyways. But you can use this anytime you want, so you can play this in advance, which is really strong. I am the Unraveler, the loosened thread that will not hold. Oh, that's cute. The loosened thread that will not hold. Seal inscription, so it says that. Maybe you have to say this. I am the Unraveler, the loosened thread that will not hold. And then you remove the creature from its existence. Also, like we said with the Ephemerate deep dive, the creatures that are being thrown back into a hand always seem to like writhe in pain and as if they are going to never return again, but they will be played probably the next turn again. So they're probably being overly dramatic. Ooh, this is cool. We have this other version of Persist, which is a 2 mana. Oh, it has some problems with this because it is really cool. I want to show it. 2 mana sorcery with return target non-legendary card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a -1 counter on it. So it just does the persist thing for a creature, but it's on a sorcery. And I like it. I like the art this way as well. It looks even more gloomy. It looks even more dangerous this way. And apparently the artist got the assignment of showing a Githkin, emerging from under the ground where he was buried. That's cool. Githkin, of course, the people that always are nice to each other and always wants to help each other and stuff. That's cool. Nice recursion card as well. And we have another one of these beasts. Gonna save this one up. Don't know why I'm per se saving the rares in any way, but I can't do that for all of them, so I choose to do it this way. Some people really want you to save all the cards, or some people really want you to only do it with the really expensive ones. I'm just doing it for all the rares because I don't want to look up the values or something. But the beast looks really blood hungry. You can see the blood coming from its mouth here. Really dangerous, and you are wondering who made this, because it does seem like an aggressive thing to make. It's not just a friend. But yeah, what do you think of Persist? It's a really cool card, right? Gonna do our last pack. Okay. I don't know if this goes in your deck per se, because it's not about the small creature that you get back. It gets back any creature, but it's still a cheap way to get it back in a way. But maybe it will kill it because it's a 1/1, right? It will enter as a 1/1 or not. I don't know which creature it's about. But if it's a 1/1, then that's a really sad way of recurring it because it will get a -1 counter. Also, I really wonder, like with all unpackings that I do, I always get this sound really into the video. Do you like it, or is it like a little bit cringy? I've heard some mixed ideas about that. I don't know where the codes are coming from for everyone, by the way, because I never get them. But I want to give them away, but I really never get them. Ooh, I like this. Galvanic Relay. I just like it because of how it looks, but it's a 3 mana sorcery. Exile the top card of your library during your next turn. You may play that card, and it has Storm. Oh, I really like the card then. Abandoned years ago, the experiment continues to iterate upon itself. Is this Ravnica? I'm not sure. Maybe it's like it's something else, I think, but it looks cool. It has Storm. Lucas Stanek made some really old-seeming city, by the way. Why is this gold? It has a gold lighting around it. Maybe it's my hands or something. They're not yellow, you know, but it seems that way. But yeah, I like this for red. It's a lot of draw, in a way. It is impulsive draw, but it's still a lot of draw, so it can be a lot of value. I like it. Isn't this like... What kind of slot is this for the cards? These always come at the front or something? Yeah. So it's a card. Wow. It's a card if these are the old bordered ones. They always come at the front or something. Not sure. It doesn't say quickly on Google, so I won't pursue it further. But I think it's a cool, cute common card. Vermin Gorger, 2 mana vampire, or is it a common? I don't know, actually. But Vermin Gorger is a 2 mana vampire, which is a 2/2 as well. So for your tribal decks, this is better than your 1/1 tokens most of the time. You can sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So with the Aristocrats deck where you want your creatures to die, this also gives an additional effect of draining each opponent or letting each opponent lose 2 life and you gaining 2. Once vampires ruled this world, commanding the fear and respect that befit our noble blood. Have we truly sunk so low? How low? Oh my gosh. Oh wow. This vampire is eating rats. Have we really sunk so low? He's returning to his world and he's seeing a vampire who used to be a noble eating rats for dinner instead of feasting upon a human bloody body. Ooh. That's really sad for Zurin, man. I feel for you. But this one has become good at it, so whenever she sacrifices a rat, she drains your opponent, so that's strong. But again, I think Zurin is really sad about this, and that's not nice to hear. Our friendly boy. He's a little emotional, but he's a nice guy. Deepwood Denizen is an Elf Warrior, 3 mana Elf Warrior with Vigilance, 3/2. Says for 6 mana you may draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each +1 counter on creatures you control. Nice. Okay, so you might only have to pay 1 mana, but you can't do this over and over again per se. Maybe with some elf shenanigans you might. But drawing cards, that's always strong. You didn't come all this way just to bother me, did you? Say your price and be gone. What? To who is he saying this? Someone is bothering him and he maybe a bandit or something? Why is this flavored this way? I don't know. It's interesting to me, but it's a warrior as well, so why would it be paying someone off? Maybe he just doesn't have the patience or something. Here's our Scofus Reaver again. The previous one was foil, so that one was a little bit more pretty, but now we can see the fire in the background a little bit better as well. Work. Yeah. So that's cool. We see that he has put a lot on fire. What does he wear? What is his weapon, by the way? It's a kind of axe, I think. A weird looking axe. But again, really aggressive Mogus lover in this case. So we have seen Perforos and Mogus in these cards. Previously we have seen the white and green gods as well, I think. Maybe this one is injured actually, if we look at this closely, because he is holding his hand as if he has hurt his breast or something. Maybe he's more feeling, maybe he's really emotional as well, just like Zurin. Maybe that's the story that we should go in for this Minotaur. Shattered Ego, another way of showing us the greatness of the mind. Chris Colt. Chris Colt also really icy artist. In this case the mind, but the ego, but it still looks really icy. And Chris Colt, it's really cool that Chris Colt really makes a lot of art with ice in it. But you can enchant creature and it gets -3/-0, which is a freeze ability. And then for 5 mana you may put enchanted creature into its owner's library 3rd from the top. So you can actually remove it later, but at first you can also make it less strong. That's cool. What is also cool is that if it's on a weaker creature, you can use this to remove the creature. Maybe it's a creature that's really aggressive in the beginning of the game, but later it won't matter. And then you can put it back in the library of the person, and then they will have to draw it again in a few turns. So that's annoying as well. You can't even fathom the depths of your own insignificance. Chaodrone again. Diada. Okay, goes on the Diada pile for if we want to do some research on that. But I really like the card, I think. And it's really shattering someone's ego. It really does. Oh, here we see some more old Bollard cards. So it's not only at the beginning. We have only seen it at the beginning before, but now we see it's this too. Terminal Agony. Destroy target creature for 4 mana or for its madness cost of 2. So that's pretty strong. His mouth melted to slag, yet somehow he kept screaming. Oh no. That's insane. Lucas Graciano again? Man, you are making some really awful cards. Imagine this. If you are Lucas and you are the artist for this card and you get the... Like, apparently he likes doing these kinds of things, but you get the assignment to make a person whose mouth melts away, but he is still screaming. He can still scream. And then you have to do some research. How would a person look if his mouth is melting, but he can still scream? How do you do your research? Do you look at movies? Do you look at some weird real life stuff? Do you try to eat hot nachos or something? That's really weird research. You have to really go in deep for that, but maybe he likes it. Maybe he's the kind of guy. Here we have Ian McCake. It's Irish, it feels, but I don't want to offend anyone. So he's probably a nice guy then, but his unbounded potential is the card. Let's not make some stereotypical thoughts on this. It's 2 mana instant, where you can again choose or entwine. What you can choose or do both. But your choice is between putting a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So a little bit of protection, a little bit of unleashing potential. Or you can proliferate. So if you already have a lot of counters, this is really great, because the downside of proliferate cards is that you will need some +1 counters, and with this you can put them on it. And I like the art as well, Ian. Yeah, I like it. So we see this knight in the background, this Pegasus knight, and then the little child in front. And we can see from the card's name that it is about the potential of this child to later become such a great Pegasus knight. That's so cute. That's really cute. And it's a cute person as well. Alright, we switch types of art a little bit with Sultan Boros. Of course, like really when I started this channel, Sultan Boros was the first person that I really got to recognize the arts from. Like this, okay. Every time it wants something else. That I first got to recognize the art from, because it's so playful, it's so unreal. And in this case we see an aerialist. They are like riding on a sort of rocking pony in the air, like why? But that's really fun to me. And they are dropping money for some reason. Burdened. Oh, they are burdened. That's the joke, right? That's the real joke. Is that they are burdened with money. They are too heavy, so they need to drop some of it off. Where do you want me to put this? Huh? Here? You're being weird. Every color is different. Here? What do you want? Huh? But okay, it says when it ends, it's a 3/1 for 3 mana. And it says when it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. And whenever you sacrifice a token, it gets flying onto end of turn. Oh, that's really cool flavor. So you create a treasure token because this one comes with a treasure, of course. It is carrying it, but it's a little bit too heavy. And then when you sacrifice it or throw it out of the window or use it or pay with it or something, it can fly again for 1 turn. So that's cool. And it's strong as well. I mean, you will want to use the treasure to pay for something, and then this one can fly for 3 damage. That's pretty strong. Ooh, here we have, I say ooh, not because this is necessarily really, really strong. I say ooh because I like it. I like Thopters, I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the jokes everyone makes or something. It's a 1/1 for 3 mana with flying, which is not really good yet. But when it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Okay, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Ooh, cool. If you put an artifact card into your hand that way, you gain 3 life. Oh yeah, so you will have to reveal it. Oh yeah, it will reveal the top 2 cards. Okay. You gain 3 life. It's not that important. I think the card draw and selection is the most important part. And then if you can revive them, that's strong. But also you will have at least like Scryed 1 or Surveilled 1 and draw 1. So that's strong. Strong card. And I like the art. It looks really white-blue. Like the skies and the flying stuff. I like it. So why I think white-blue, by the way, should be really blue and with tints of white is because white-blue always has the mechanical flavor of being about flying, in a way, or protection. And if it is about flying, in this case it's about flying, I think the art should be blue as well because it's mostly a blue thing to do, to be flying. And when it's about protection and stuff and stopping people, it's more white. So I think the art should be more white as well. So I think that's why it's cool that the art is so blue from Hector Ortiz. We have another bridge, which I really like. They're really discovering the colors with these. This one is the Orts of colors, or of course Silver Quill if you want. In this case, what are we coming from? Like a sort of dead place to a snowy place. They are both a little bit dead, but the path to glory is forged in ambition. So if you want to be glorious, if you want to be a hero, you need to be ambitious to become strong enough to defend other people. So that's the cool Orts of vibe. But glory is also a little bit egoistic, like you want to be a hero because you want to be recognized. But still cool. I think that's a little bit of the Orts of philosophy as well. We have Abiding Grace, which is a 3 mana white enchantment, which I already like because Jen Ravenna Tran made a really nice heaven in a way. Yeah, cool. I like it. I think there's a lot of angels living here. At the beginning of your end step, nice. Choose one. You gain 1 life. Okay, sure, white. You gain 1 life. Or you return target creature card with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Wow. You need this one, I'm sure. I'll put this on the stack. It was a 1 mana card, right? That you had to read. Oh, it's 2? Or not? Oh, it's 1 power or less? Is it 1 mana, the creature? Search. There's also a way that they're based on 1 card. Horizons, where I would use the evoke card that revives something with power 1 or less for 2 mana. I don't know. I'll put it on there, but Song of All says, into the smothering dark, Sarah spoke a single word. Hope. And there it was. She said hope, and the whole sky turned into 2. Bam. That's cool. and at once you could see the sun. We have Lucid Dreams, a 5 mana sorcery, yeah. Where you can draw X cards, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. I like it. Nils Ham, we have seen him before as well. So you draw cards and then you may look at the types of cards in your graveyard to decide how many cards you draw. Never be afraid to look where others can't or won't. So never be afraid to dive deep into your dreams. That's fun, and it's a really fun art as well, with the flying fish and this girl is coming from a ladder down, and the ladder is not really standing against something, and there's a lot to discover here, like with the portals and the other doors and the large snake and more fish at the top, and yeah, it really looks cool. Where have we seen Nils Ham before? It is 1 mana, but this card could be useful. Nils Ham. Let's look for Nils Ham. Because I really like putting these cards next to each other. It's not always that they made multiple cards, but I think I recognize the name. I hope so. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, if you ever hear an artist and you want to see more of those, we'll just look for them. I don't think... No, I don't think it's here. Maybe it just has a recognizable name for me or something. I don't know anyone with the name, but... Oh, here it is. Oh, he made this one. The first card. So, we have Glimmer Bairn and Lucid Dreams. Cool. Yeah, these are both very playful, both very fairy tale-like, and both don't seem to belong anywhere where there's fighting, but they seem so free and childlike, and that's cool. It's a cool style. Nice. Rakdos Headliner with a sort of... How do you say it? Yeah, well, the sketch card, I think. So this one is red and black, and it has haste. It's a 3/3, and with its echo cost, you have to discard a card. So at the beginning of your next upkeep, I think you have to discard a card. And then mood. Unrestrained violence is a festival. Oh, wait. Unrestrained violence in a festival atmosphere. Where's the festival atmosphere? Oh, maybe it's because there's like a tent here or something. Not sure, but it is violence. That's definitely true. Here we have Extruder, not Intruder, but Extruder. So coming out of the world or something, like, not sure, but it's a 4 mana artifact creature, Juggernaut. With Echo 4, so at the beginning of your upkeep, instead of discarding, you have to pay 4 mana, and you can sacrifice an artifact to put a +1 counter on target creature. So you can sacrifice something to make something else stronger. Not sure about how to put this artifact colored card here. Okay, sure. Maybe it's because it's like white, but a little bit more heavy. But yeah. It says, can't do it. As the invasion drew closer, Urza's means began to resemble Phyrexian's end. Oh, that's why it's Extruder, because it's from the land itself. It discards 2. You mean the Rakdos thing? That's true. But it's both other colors, so I wouldn't recommend it in your deck personally. But it's still a nice, it's still a nice addition. I made a monkey sound because it's a monkey. It's a Ragavan Nimble. You know the card, but it's. Can I get it really?
I've got a bad feeling about this. Hold it.
I gotta hold it. Okay, thanks music. It's a 1-mana legendary creature, Monkey Pirate. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library until end of turn. You may cast that card. But also you can keep it in your hand, and then for 2 mana you may cast a spell for its dash cost. It gains haste and is returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Monkey indeed. That's a great last card before the token to get actually, because I think this one is like the most expensive card in the set. For some reason. No, it's not for some reason. It's a monkey, it's cute, it can be your commander. You can steal people's cards, people hate that, and you will love it. That's what I have to say about it. And it's really cool that he got his own card. From being a token, from being teased to us. That's really cool. And another Potter to be thematic about the Kaladesh stuff. So that's nice for the token pile. So yeah, about your deck, I really want to know what kind of color you will use extra. But also just, you know my Twitter, it's also slow unpacking. Just hit me up and I will... I think I can just send these, but I'm not sure. Maybe I think it was like a max of an amount of cards, but just tell me which are most important to you. And if you tell me your address, of course, I can send that. That would be cool. Nice little bit of extra interaction, I think. I would personally like that. But yeah, also for deep dives, I really want to look at Diana. I think that would be nice. Is there anything else that maybe this art is really cool? So I would like to do that as well. From Nils. I got a bad feeling about what? Not sure. Maybe the Witness, it might be a nice deep dive to do. That would be really cool. I'm thinking about the bridges, but I don't know if that's really the solution for me. Like the bridge cycle with the lands might be cool to do. Something like that. More deep dives that I want to do in the other cards. Not sure. Torment, no. I don't really like Torment's story yet because it's not really pronounced in any way. It doesn't really show a lot yet. No, nothing from here, but of course Ragavan needs his own video, I think.
What the fuck am I doing here? Stop!
Don't say bad words. I do like this. Maybe Esper, because there's a lot of Esper in the set as well. You just really need one, of course. Nice that we got that promotional. Okay, yeah, I think we can get some more content out of this. Nice. I like it. But yeah, also I'm going to almost end this stream here, so just to part ways. If you want to say anything, say it now. Also, if you have been here, because I know that there are at least 2 other people who have been here for the whole time. I don't know if you want to say anything yet, or maybe tell me what kinds of deck you play. If you do it later, that's fine too. But please tell me, and because I think it's fun, and I have arranged for everything so that I will be able to send it to you. So just tell me. The easiest way is on Twitter, because if I go to your and otherwise you will have to put the messages on your YouTube account, and that's not really something I would recommend personally. So just hit me up on Twitter. Slow Unpacking is my name there, and I can send you some cards, which will be fun from this. If you have been here, then it will have some nice meaning to you. Just tell me the exact title of the stream and it will be fine. So yeah, tell me that. Also, thank you for being here. Thank you for the 75 subs. I know it's a little bit of a weird number, but I like the number. And I really wanted to open some packs today because that's just nice to do together. So yeah, have a nice... I don't know what time it is for you, but for me it's evening. So have a nice evening, at least this day. And again, thank you for being here, and bye-bye.